Next is LaWanda. LaWanda, as I kind of mentioned to you already, she is living life right now. She is one of those caregivers. And she's also a Reiki practitioner, and so we really appreciate all the tools. Actually, what's really fascinating, and obviously Lindsay's discussion was extremely informative, but you can see there are multiple ways of treatment, right? This is right. I give you guys all these different things. We give you hormones, we give you surgery, we give you radiation, we give all the things. But these are all the other types of therapies too. The sleeping, the exercise, they all tie together. Everything ties together. And so, if you need some, psychiatric medicine, or if you need just good exercise, or you need meditation, or you need some fresh air, or you need some testosterone. I mean, later on today, will be donating some testosterone, so just feel free to just pluck on his beard, and you'll get a little treatment. That'll be really.
That's how that gets extracted.
That's right. Just have faith in it. That's all. Or. That's right. It's life-changing. That's right. Exactly. And Reiki, guided imagery, the imagery therapy, all these things. Every single tool. You've heard me say this a million times. The toolbox is full. Let us use all the tools in the toolbox to help you heal and restore yourself. And so I am very excited to hear. LaWanda, please. I did want to say just one quick little thing, too. And LaWanda, you may want to just mention, I know LaWanda has been working on a foundation, actually, to support patients as well. So spend just a second, if you don't mind, too, LaWanda. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank Carolyn and the Healing Net Foundation, everyone from the Healing Net Foundation, for inviting me to share with you all today. I'm truly honored to be here in this moment, in the moment with each and every one of you. I also want to thank Cindy and Dr. Lou for listening to my daughter's story over 5 years ago. And I want to thank everyone here who's here listening to all the presenters and those who are listening, and everyone in this room who has sent prayers, positive energy, contributions to my family down through the years. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Okay. And just a quick introduction about me. My name's LaWanda. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, home of the Ravens. Yes. I work for Kaiser Permanente. I'm a CNA, but I work for Kaiser Permanente now. In radiology scheduling. Outside of that, I am a level 2 Reiki practitioner, and I serve as president of the Team Heal Chloe Foundation. And I am married to my husband, Lloyd. We've been married for 20 years, and together we have 3 amazing kids. I have Anaya, my oldest, my son Manny, and my youngest Chloe. Over 7 years ago, my husband and I became caregivers to our next warrior, our youngest daughter, Chloe. And today, I just want to share just a little snippet of my personal journey and my spiritual journey. I want to talk about some of my experiences with loss, devastation, and how it became light to me, and it renewed my soul. And I am on a path of healing as we speak. I also want to talk about faith and the sacred power of holding space for ourselves, our loved ones, and our community. And I hope that what I share here today connects with you all in a meaningful way. In 2012, my mom transitioned. She was battling cancer, but it was a stroke that ultimately took her life. and I struggled with her death. I could not find my purpose. I remember Sundays being the hardest day of the week for me. I would just stay in the bed. I would just stay in the bed. I would cry. I would just feel so stuck. And I was just so full of like pain and anger. And a lot of that pain and anger, I took out on my husband. He got the brunt of all of that during that time. And I was becoming a miserable person. I was just so miserable. And I didn't like what I was becoming. So I finally decided I wanted to get help. And I went to therapy. My therapist gave me tools to face my pain, but doing the work was not easy. My mother's transition shook the core of my being. And I had moments where past hurts and traumas, they would surface. And I had moments also where I would still hear that inner voice inside of me. And it was just telling me that, you know, you need to deal with this hurt, you need to deal with this trauma, and you have a lot that you have stored in your being, in your heart, down through the years. And I realized that the brokenness of my heart, it was making way for my healing. And I'm so grateful to my husband and my kids, because when nothing else could help, it was love, their love that lifted me. So one day, I was on my way to therapy, and I had a vision. I was at a crossroad, and I saw myself standing there, and that inner voice stated, you have a choice. You can stay in the dark, or you can choose to heal. I was like, okay, it was definitely a turning point for me. And I was like, okay, I want to heal. And that's when I made the conscious decision to heal, start the healing journey. And when I arrived at therapy that day, my therapist reminded me that life goes on and I still have purpose. And slowly, I began to come out of that darkness. This journey took me back to my childhood. As a child, I would have vivid dreams and I would have visions. And sometimes it would be about loved ones that had passed away. I didn't tell anyone because I did not want people to think, or my family to think, that I was weird. Even though I am weird, I'm a little weird. But yes, and I did not want them to think that I was demonic. So this was something that I held inside. I never spoke about it. And I didn't understand it really at the time either. And I'm gonna just fast forward to 2018. Oh, I'm sorry, before I go to that. Even though I didn't realize it at the time, but it had something to do with my spiritual awakening. In 2018, my youngest daughter, Chloe, she became ill. We took her to urgent care twice that week, and both times they said it was just a virus. My husband and I felt that something else was going on, so we took her to the emergency room. After the doctor examined her and sent her for ultrasound, The doctor came back in and told us that they saw numerous tumors, not tumors, I'm sorry, numerous pockets in her liver. And she needed to be rushed to the University of Maryland Children's Hospital. I started screaming. And I was like, no, please, please tell me what is going on. What is going on with my daughter? And the doctor, Dr. Morgan, she just looked at me and she gently touched my hand. And she said, I don't know. And when she spoke those words and just her touch, I felt like this overwhelming energy of compassion, and it started to calm me down. And I'll never forget how she made me feel in that moment. And she was the doctor that finally realized that something was going on with my daughter. We arrived at the University of Maryland Children's Hospital, and that's where we met Dr. York. Dr. York and her team reassured us that they were going to do all they can to figure out what was going on with Chloe. After several tests and a biopsy of her liver, on May the 4th, 2018, she was diagnosed with a neuroendocrine tumor of the pancreas and liver. We were devastated. One moment, we were, living what I thought was our normal. And the next, we are in a world of uncertainty. Dr. York and her team, they searched for a specialist who could assist in her situation. The uncertainty was overwhelming, but I kept the faith, we kept the faith, and at that time we was leaning on our loved ones just for support, because it was a lot. Dr. York, again, reassured us that they were gonna find a world specialist, and a few days later, Dr. York found a world specialist in Iowa. I felt excited, but then I began to worry. How are we gonna get there? Who's gonna take care of Naya and Manny? This is great, but how are we gonna get her to Iowa? The news began to spread about Chloe's diagnosis, and in the midst of devastation and uncertainty, something incredible happened. Support began to pour in from everywhere. Family, friends, co-workers, and even strangers. They began to offer support, positive energy, and healing vibes. Let's just, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Someone even said, my 83-year-old grandfather lights a candle for Chloe every day. Another said, I'm sending healing energy her way. Someone even gave us holy water from Mecca. Chloe and my family was on prayer lists, numerous prayer lists, and through those acts of compassion, something shifted in me, and I began to see that love truly has no boundaries. I grew up believing faith only looked one way, but when your child is sick, your heart opens in ways you never expected. People from all backgrounds, faiths, cultures, they showed up for us, and it was in pure love. And it taught me that love and faith wear many faces, and that we can all be vessels of healing energy. So June of 2018, we traveled to Iowa, and we met Dr. Sue Odorizio. That first initial appointment, it was surreal, because first of all, I couldn't believe that we were in Iowa. I couldn't believe it, and Dr. Sue was so knowledgeable. She is knowledgeable, I'm sorry. She's knowledgeable, and she was so compassionate, and she came up with a treatment plan for Chloe, and she decided that Chloe could try a clinical trial, and we would need to come back to Iowa. And Dr. O also mentioned that the treatment alone, it may not save her, but she may need a double transplant. And at that time, she mentioned a surgeon in Minnesota. My husband and I, we were hoping that, the treatment would help, because again, I could not imagine being in Minnesota. I'm like, we got to Iowa, like, come on now, like, let's get everything done. Let's figure all this out in Iowa. But then we returned home, and we got ready for her first treatment. And before we went to Iowa for her first treatment, it would be our second trip, we gathered our family and friends together to show support and for prayer and healing, positive vibes and healing vibes. And the love that filled our home that day was so uplifting and beautiful. I'll never forget it. And when I'm feeling down, I often think about that day. So we returned to Iowa a few days later, and Chloe received her first treatment. We traveled every 6 weeks for a total of 3 cycles of the clinical trial. The treatment showed positive results by shrinking the tumors, but she would still need a double transplant. In December of 2018, so this is her receiving her treatment. That's her first treatment in Iowa, and that's Dr. Sue, that's Manny and Chloe. And in December of 2018, she was listed for a transplant at the Georgetown University. Now skip to mid-2019. She was finished her treatment, and we was waiting for a transplant at that time. And I began to feel overwhelmed with everything that was going on. I began to get triggered at work. For example, if a patient needed a PET scan, that would send me into a panic at work. And even hearing the word metastasized, I would just have these bad panic attacks at work. And thankfully at the time, I was working with a physician, and he would let me go into his office and just, give me time to get myself together. And with everything that was going on with Chloe, my family, work, I began to feel mentally drained and unstable. So I decided to go back to therapy. this time, I had a new therapist, and I would describe her as very straightforward, and she didn't play around with me. She straight to the chaser with me. And again, more things began to surface. I found myself working through more trauma and fear. But she helped me realize that I needed to take care of myself. And that in order to care for myself, like I had to deal with me first before I can even take care of my family. And she also noticed that, she noticed that I had some spiritual gifts. And she also told me about cherishing the moment and living in every moment. So with her noticing, some of my spiritual gifts, she told me as I continued the healing process, I would be able to help others heal. It's never easy facing your shadows, but eventually breakthroughs began to happen for me. My faith began to shift, and I started seeing my family's journey as a greater purpose. What used to be fear, it became trust. I started to notice signs, dreams, songs, divine whispers, and it was all guiding me. And I realized that healing isn't just physical. It's emotional, it's spiritual, and it's energetic. In December of 2019, a year had passed. My daughter was listed for a transplant, and we received no calls, no offers. Dr. O reached out to Minnesota, and in a few weeks, we were in Minnesota, and that's where we met Dr. Chenicola, Dr. Chenicola. So after that consultation with him and his transplant team, Chloe was listed, and she was dual listed for transplant. So this was her being listed in the Midwest. Fast forward to July. Okay. Fast forward to July, the end of July of 2020. I woke up one night, and I was feeling overwhelmed by everything. And I began to cry, and I was just talking to God. I was just, oh my goodness. That night, it was like it was early morning, it's like 3 in the morning. And I was so overwhelmed. And my family know, I am a little dramatic, I am. But that night, I just like rolled out the bed, and I was just like in the floor, and I was like crying and just like feeling like, please, like just help me with this feeling, God. Like I'm just so overwhelmed. And then I felt a presence in the room, and it felt like my mother. It did, and it felt like my grandmother. And I got quiet, and I took some deep breaths, and I whispered. I said, Mommy, I know you're here. Please help me. Please help me. And I said, God, please help me. Just help me. And I was able to grab my phone. And I turned on, I had made, it was called my calming playlist. And I just pushed play. And this song came on. It's called Better Days. And the words to the song, you can't get to no better days unless you make it through the night. You will see those better days. But you have to be patient. In that moment, I knew it was a message for me. And I began to feel peace. And I was able to go back to sleep. On August the 3rd, 2020, we got a call from Minnesota. They had a donor for Chloe. We had less than 24 hours to get there. On August the 4th, 2020, Chloe received a life-changing double transplant of her liver and her pancreas. Another time when my spirit and my life just shifted, and it was such a miracle. Dr. C and his team, they were amazing. And my daughter received this transplant, and we were grateful and truly thankful. But then I began to feel pain and I was feeling gratitude also, and I was feeling sadness for the parents of Chloe's deceased donor. His name is David. Again, love has no boundaries. His parents' selfless decision saved multiple lives that day. What a gift to share in the midst of grief. And all of these experiences, they were changing the way that I saw things. Every prayer, every tear, every sign, I feel like I was just being guided to understand faith and energy in a much deeper way. So we stayed in Minnesota for about 2.5 months. Some days, all I could do was sit beside Chloe and hold her, just place my hand on her forehead, place my hand on her arm. And at first, I was getting comfort from just doing that. But then I noticed it was making her calm also. If I would move my hand, she would whisper, "Mommy, put your hand back." Without knowing it, we were exchanging energy, sharing love through stillness. After she was released, we took walks in Minnesota. We walked by the Mississippi River, and I just remember touching the trees there and just being grateful, breathing in gratitude, and just feeling the history. Minnesota is beautiful. Denver is beautiful also, but yeah, Minnesota is really beautiful. So, like I stated, we, spent time there, and then we had came back home in October of 2020. And I'm gonna just fast forward to April of 2021, when Chloe had to return to Minnesota for another surgery. A child life specialist offered Reiki sessions for the parents. I didn't fully understand it, but I felt called to try it. Before my session, I witnessed an indigenous powwow in the hospital courtyard. The drumming, the movement, the sound touched me so deeply. It was like I was remembering something sacred. Then came my Reiki session. As the practitioner placed her hands on me, I could feel my energy shifting. After that session, I felt balanced, I felt grounded, and I felt much lighter. And it was an amazing experience. After that experience, I knew I couldn't ignore the calling any longer. So I began to search for classes quietly, wasn't telling nobody. And I was prayerfully just trying to see where I could learn more about this and maybe learn this so I can heal or promote healing for myself and my family. By 2024, divine timing aligned again. During a family Zoom call, we were talking about dream careers, And I said, if I could do anything, or if I can be anything, I would like to be a holistic practitioner. My cousin said, it may not be too late. It's like, oh, maybe. The next day, I came across a Reiki training program, and I registered for the class. A few weeks later, I went to the class, and I completed my level 1 Reiki, and then I returned and completed my level 2. And just to give you some, just a little background information, I'm not a master, so I'm gonna stay in my lane. Reiki, Rei meaning universal, spiritual or divine, Ki, life force energy. Reiki is not religion, is not a religion. It's a gentle, loving practice that connects us all to the universal energy that flows through all living things. Reiki doesn't ask you to believe in any one faith or follow any set of rules. It simply invites you to open your heart and allow healing to take place. People from every background and belief system can experience Reiki. It meets you exactly where you are. It helps you to find peace, balance, and a deeper sense of connection to yourself and the world around you. At its core, Reiki is love in motion, a reminder that healing energy is available to all of us, no matter what we believe. Caregivers and healers who may need to recharge, like myself, I found Reiki to be a beautiful alternative. Oh, and Reiki it cannot take the place of medicine. So yes, I feel like it complements when you're going through. You can use it as an alternative, and it works together. Anyone can practice Reiki. We all have that connection to the universal life force energy. It's always around us. We just have to pause and allow it to flow. I've learned that healing isn't always about recovery. It's about peace, connection, and letting love meet us where we are. In 2022, I had a vision, and I wanted to help families and support families like we have been supported down through the years. All the love, the pain, the lessons, it all started to point forward. It started to point towards something greater. In 2024, the Team Heal Chloe Foundation was born. It came straight from the heart, our way of honoring Chloe's courage, her joy, and the love she continues to share. Our mission is to support families who must travel for their child's medical treatment, because we know how heavy that journey can be. We also will provide financial assistance and emotional support. We will help families advocate for awareness and early detection. And above all, we will remind families that they are seen, supported, and never alone. Each act of kindness, each connection we make continues to help the healing that started in our own home. Our story began in pain and uncertainty, but it grew into purpose, awareness, and community. Through Reiki, I've learned how to listen to that energy, the same energy that once flowed through my hands when I held my children. Now, my hope is that that energy flows through our foundation, through the families we will serve, and through every heart we connect with. My family's journey has changed my life and how I understand myself and others. I've learned that love, faith, healing appears in many forms. Through touch, it may be prayer, reflection, and sometimes just the courage to keep believing. No matter our differences, love is what unites us. It's our greatest source of strength and the truest expression of who we are. My family's light continues to guide me and remind me that love is endless and that miracles come in many forms. Our experience is that healing isn't meant to be done alone. It's something that we all do together. Healing Net Foundation, yes. Each of us have the power to be a vessel of light, compassion, and hope. So in closing, I would like to thank you all for listening, for holding space, and for walking with me as I tell part of this journey of love, faith, and healing. And that's, just Chloe. And also, before I close, I'm sorry. Your presence, your presence, your care, and your willingness to share, and even the presenters that came before me, you all have touched my heart. And Mr. Jean, I need you to write that book ASAP. ASAP. And just thank you all for listening, and I hope that you all can take something from this. Thank you.
What a day, folks. What a day. Woo. Well, I know everyone has days when they don't feel well. I know there are days when you don't think you can do this. Remember the fact that LaWanda's daughter, Chloe, is doing this, and she's 14. How old is she? 16. She's 16 now. My gosh, time flies, yeah. But she's 16. So, she should be doing other things, but she actually is kind of doing now, right? She got a driver's license, right? Didn't she?
Oh, she has her permit.
Oh, she got a permit, okay. Living her best life with Nets, right? Exactly. And, yeah, and LaWanda, what's that, Sydney? She plays the trombone, right? So she's a musician. I mean, these are all amazing things. And so, whatever terrible day I have, and I have a lot of terrible days, none of it matters, because I just need to think of Chloe, and I need to think of all the people who have shared their stories with us, and we know that there's always something that we can do to make days a little bit better. Okay, and so thank you, all of you.